Welcome to the Levrige Show. This is Brett Ingram, and today I want to share with you how to dominate your market and crush your competition. Now, those are things that, if you're in business in any period of time at all, you know are really important to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because ultimately, right, you want to be able to be successful. You want to grow your business, and you want to not only achieve higher levels of profitability and sales, but you want to serve and help more customers and get other people to benefit from your products and services. And so there's always a lot of questions and there's always a lot of challenge around the idea of how do you approach competitive situations? How do you stand out in your marketplace? And how do you become the choice that your customers all gravitate toward and want to do business with? And so I want to share with you something. Now, I'm going to warn you in advance, it isn't necessarily that glamorous, but the fact of the matter is, it's not always about the glamour. It's about getting in the trenches and doing the work that needs to be done in order to be successful. You know, a lot of people look at external ideas. They want to know what sort of, marketing plan to put in place. What sort of social media tactics and tools can they use? And, sometimes things get focused a lot on fads or gimmicks or new trends. And so the focus is, okay, well, if we start to do that, then maybe we could dominate the competition. If we start to do this, we could dominate the competition. But what really happens is people are sort of dancing around the real core issue and what it really comes down to. At the end of the day, the way you dominate your competition, the way you dominate your market, and the way you make your competition obsolete in terms of your customer base is to get to know your customers, get to know your market better than anybody else. That's step one. And then step two is to serve your customers and market better than anybody else. When you do that, your tactics become secondary. All of those other things, the tools, the mediums, whatever it is that you're doing, matter a lot less than your message and that your ability to connect with customers. Look, at the end of the day, every customer you have, no matter what market you're in, is a human being. And the human beings all have their own sets of fears, concerns, dreams, worries, anxiety, problems and desires. And so it's up to you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, to get to know them better than anybody else does and help them make their lives better. At the end of the day, why do we buy stuff, right? We buy stuff to alleviate pain or to seek pleasure, to get something that we don't already have in our lives. And so at the end of the day, that's really what this all boils down to. If you strip away all of the technology, and you strip away all of the sizzle and the marketing and all of that other stuff, at the end of the day, it comes down to a conversation. It comes down to a conversation between you and your prospect or your customer. And it comes down to who understands them better. I mean, let me ask you, if you were in your customer's shoes and you had a potential deal with two different companies, and company A called you up, let's just say that it was a phone representative type situation. They called you up and they said, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I have 14 widgets for sale. The widgets have all of these features, and if you buy today, I'm going to give you a 30% discount. Okay, so would you buy from that particular vendor, or vendor B who calls you up and says, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, how are the kids doing? Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's in college now. How did that, what school did he end up going to? That's great. And I remember, he was a great violin player and, a baseball player. Did he do that stuff in college too? And I know, how about those Mets? I know you're a big Mets fan. I mean, it looks like they're going to go all the way this year. Oh, by the way, listen, I wanted to let you know that we're offering a sale on this particular widget. Now, I know in the past you've bought some of these widgets from us, but I want to tell you something really important about this one, because I know one of the concerns that you always had about widgets when you buy them is that, you know, sometimes the warranty wasn't very good. And I know you've gotten burned a few times when you bought them, and then they, you know, died before the warranty, you know, after the warranty was out, and you didn't get to use them as long as you thought you would. So I wanted to let you know that these come with an extended warranty that's going to go an extra 2 years. So I think it'll totally alleviate that concern of yours. You know, let me know if it's something you'd be interested in. Which one do you suppose you'd want to buy from? It's not even a contest. The price might be the same. The terms might be the same. The product might be the same. It isn't even a contest. The second vendor knows who you are, what's important to you, what's going on in your life, what your concerns are. So you would probably even pay more and for fewer features. So at the end of the day, is it about the company that has the best product that offers every little, you know, widget and gadget that you can imagine? No, it isn't. It's about the company that understands their customer on a better level and can connect with them in a way that makes their life better. You know, and that is a really important lesson for every business owner to learn. You know, years ago, I was in the staffing industry and I was an account executive. So I went out and I met with all of my clients. And, you know, I'll never forget this one time I had a new boss that was put in charge of our division. And so he came out on a ride with me and we went to one of the client sites. And I was talking with, she was an accounting manager, and I was talking to her about, she had like a Mets bobblehead and some pictures of her kids. And I was talking to her about all that stuff because, you know, we were building the relationship. And so we were there for about a half an hour, 40 minutes. We talked a little bit, obviously, about her accounting needs coming up. And so we get out of the office and we're halfway back walking to the car. And my boss says to me, you really got to cut out all that small talk. The clients don't really care about that. All they want to know is the candidates. I knew from that day, not only did he not have a clue about how business really works, but that job wasn't going to be something I was going to be in long term. Because he didn't understand one of the basic tenets of business, and that it's about establishing a relationship with your client. You know, I called a client subsequently a week later, and you know what she said to me when I got her on the phone? You are the 7th staffing person, 7th, to call me today. 7 in a day. Do you honestly think that our prices or that our terms are going to be the reason that people are doing business with me? No. The reason the accounting manager was gracious enough to meet with us and allow us to come to her office and spend a half an hour with her is because of the relationship, not because of all the great candidates that we've got. And that's the lesson that's really important to learn. So let's flip this for a minute. How do you actually go about doing that? If you're in a situation where you've got a group of customers and prospects, how do you get to know them beyond just the demographics? Okay, well, I know my average customer is a male, age 54, 2 kids in college. Okay, that's great. That's going to give you some information. Attended college himself, household income of $125,000. That's good information, but it's just the start. The way that you can get beyond that is to actually engage in dialogue with your customers. You know, there are lots of tools now that you can use. You can use the Facebook audience insights. You know, there may be other tools that you can use as well. There's a lot of automated stuff out there, but you can also just talk to your customers. You can ask them about stuff. And one of the greatest ways to do this is with the use of surveys. You can use surveys to survey your customer base. You can incentivize them if you want. You don't need to if you don't want to, but you'll probably get more respondents. And you can ask them some specific questions about what is important to them. You know, so it shows that you care, but also it allows you to collect more detailed information about who your customers are, what's vitally important to them, and how you could better serve them. Because when you've developed that relationship, that first name basis relationship where they trust you implicitly, it buys you a lot. It means they're a little less worried about price, they're a little less worried about terms, they're a little reluctant to go with your competitors anyway, and they're also willing to overlook a mistake or two if you happen to make one. Now, obviously you need to be in the same ballpark. If you're totally ridiculous relative to your competition, you're still going to take a hit on that. But if you're even in the ballpark, it's going to make your business, your company, and you a lot more attractive to all of those customers. So if you want to take advantage of that, there's actually a tool that you can use that's free that I have called Survey Monster. You can get it at surveymonster.com. You can create your very own free surveys and start to deploy them right away to your customers and prospects. And it's a great way to really get to know your market, get to know your customer, and that is a competitive advantage that no one can ever take away from you. If you know your customers better than everybody else, you'll be able to serve them better than everybody else, and they're going to want to do business with you better than everybody else. As always, if you have any questions or comments, share them with me at levrigeshow.com or tweet them at #levrigeshow. And until next time, make it happen.